Hi everyone, Happy New Year! Welcome back to being the best version of yourself. I'm your host, Dr. Carrie Heller. With making a New Year's resolution, one of the hardest things that people have difficulty with is sticking to those resolutions. So I have a couple of suggestions on how to make this as easy as possible for you to not only make a resolution, something you want to improve on, but to be able to carry it out successfully in the coming year and hopefully even beyond that. The first strategy to help you to follow through on a resolution is to start small in what you're picking. If you try to accomplish something that's so huge and is really hard to even do in the first place, you're going to be likely less successful at following through on it. So the first thing is start small. Maybe an example could be getting up on time, using face wash regularly, working out. Pick something that's small but also important to you. You want to be meaningful. You don't want to just be, oh, I should have a resolution, so let me pick something. Pick something that makes sense to you, that's helpful, but try to start small with it. The next strategy I have for you is to make your resolution measurable. So if you pick something that's so hard to keep track of, did I do this? Did I accomplish this? It's going to make it harder to follow through on. Whereas if you can set up a way to make something measurable, so for example, measuring it based on time, or yes or no, did I do this? Did I work out today? Did I get up on time? Like something that's very easy for you to have a way of tracking. Did I do this? Did I not do this? Can be really helpful for accomplishing a New Year's resolution or really most goals in general. The final main strategy I have for you with a New Year's resolution is to think about setting up steps of what you need to do to be able to be successful at it. This is where I think a lot of people fall off with resolutions, is they have these grand ideas, but they don't come up with a plan of how to execute it, and then they fall short. So for example, with working out, if your goal is I want to work out, you would first think about, how many times a week, a sense of the time to go back to point 2 about making it measurable. Then the big thing with the steps for working out is, what is that going to look like? So are you going to use a specific app? Are you going to go for a run, bike ride? You want to make sure you have a clear sense of, this is what I'm going to do in terms of working out to execute this particular example that we're talking about. And then the same thing with, let's say I'm going to use an app. So you want to make sure, pick a specific app, download it, sign for a subscription or a free trial, whatever it is. And then, maybe block out time in your schedule. Because if you think, oh, I want to work out, but you don't actually plan time in to do it, it's going to be a lot harder to follow through on. So whatever the resolution is, making sure that you have like the equipment in place, the steps involved, and ways to remember to do it and incorporate into your schedule will make it a lot easier to follow through on your New Year's resolutions. Okay, so we've talked about 3 simple ways to help to follow through on New Year's resolution. So if you've been able to identify something that makes sense to work on up to this point, that's great. But let's say you're thinking to yourself, oh, I would love to improve on something, but I'm not really sure what. Maybe an opportunity or something to think about here is, if you're getting stuck, look, what would make you happier or healthier? Think about it that way. I mean, and again, those are in some cases can be very broad, but think about like with being happier, having more free time, less stress, which I guess obviously probably helps with health as well. Or with health, think about, should I be working out more, eating healthier, taking care of my mind better, getting more sleep. Think about what types of things might having more downtime. Like think about what kinds of things would make you happier or healthier, and use that as a starting point towards maybe brainstorming a list of possible resolutions. And maybe let's say you have a ton of them. Rather, if it's hard to decide on them, make a list of them and pick, let's say, 3 to start with. Because you really can add resolutions at any time in the year. So why not, if you have a ton of them, start with a couple, accomplish those, and then pull out your list. I would suggest saving it somewhere so you can find it easily, maybe like the notes app of a phone or on a bulletin board somewhere. But then once you've accomplished a couple of goals that you've set out for, start off with the next ones. And then this way, throughout the year, you can keep having additional resolutions, and in turn, by this time next year, be in a much better place, happier, healthier. I hope that this has been helpful for you in getting you thinking about how to identify a couple of resolutions and think about some steps involved to be able to implement doing them and being successful and making these changes that you're interested in. Until next time, I'm Dr. Carrie Heller.